Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife, and by now I'm sure most of you have seen the meme of this guy. It's pretty famous, it's been around the internet for a long time, and if you're like me, you're probably wondering, who the hell is that guy, and whatever happened to him? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's breakdown. The 90s, a simpler time where you could crack open a can of Surge while watching X-Files and illegally download anything your heart desires on Napster. Rest in peace. But to me, my favorite pastime of the 90s was the weekend trips to the video store, where I would aimlessly wander the aisles in search of the perfect movies to watch and decide which ones I wanted to pay late fees on. For anyone out there soaking in this nostalgia right now, you might also remember that those video stores, with the exception of Blockbuster, had an adults-only restricted section. This area hosted the obvious XXX content, but it also had a specific rack where you can find very weird, strange, and unusual films, such as Faces of Death, like 1 through 4, or the UFC. You see, back then, the UFC was not what it is today, and as a matter of fact, a lot of people even considered it human cockfighting. It was viewed much differently, and in order to rent one of those films, you actually had to go back to this adults-only section in order to even get a copy to rent. You see, back then, MMA wasn't even referred to as MMA by most people. The common term was NHB, or no holds barred, and it was illegal in a lot of states.
That's fucking illegal.
Back then, athletes were just as likely to fight another human being as they were to fight heart disease. And of course, commentators could possibly go home with a souvenir that used to be attached to a fighter.
Tooth came out.
Kathy, did you catch that tooth?
One of the most legendary cards at that time took place at UFC 15. Maurice Smith beat Tank Abbott. Randy Couture beat Vitor Belfort. And Mark Kerr fought and won twice in the same night. It was absolutely legendary. But out of all those legendary fighters who fought on that card, and all those memorable moments that happened that evening, one stood above the rest and etched itself into the Internet Hall of Fame forever.
And to my right, he's a freestyle wrestling champion.
Believe it or not, that guy's name isn't actually the Just Bleed guy, although the memes and his outfit would tell you otherwise. His name is actually James Ladner, and on that fateful night in October of 1997, he cemented himself in the MMA history books as one of the most hardcore fans of all time. And if I had to guess, based off the amount of drinking this man was doing that night, he probably also cemented himself with having some type of major liver damage. But I've always wondered what got James into MMA in the first place. Who the hell is that guy, and what's going on with him now? According to an old interview on BloodyElbow.com, James started off his love for violent sports through cockfighting.
Fans are really here to see a knockout.
What? No. This is not what I was meaning at all. I'm talking about like roosters with razor blades attached to their talons and they would fight to the death type cockfighting.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Close enough. Apparently James lost the taste for animal fighting after he had witnessed 2 dogs fight to the death. So he instead started turning his focus on humans and organized backyard brawls. I would say, I'm going to put up $10,000 and we're going to fight to the last man. Whoever is the last person who can fight will win the money. I would promote, I would fight, I would pay the money. It wouldn't matter to me, I just really liked it, he told Bloody Elbow. According to him, the rules of his backyard matches would be extremely similar to how the UFC ran in the early days. And ironically enough, this is around the time that he actually discovered the UFC and became a fan. It was always in the back of my mind. Does size matter? Does technique matter? And when the UFC started out, it came the closest, I think, we've ever come to answering some of these questions. Because you would see really light and fast men prevail over people who were a whole lot bigger and stronger. That's what intrigued me and what had me following the sport. He did, however, fall out of love with MMA after the UFC adopted the unified rules of MMA and now lives his nice, peaceful, quiet life as an accountant. One of the most interesting parts about all of this to me is the fact that he didn't even know that he was an internet meme for a long time because, well, he was sitting in prison. He actually heard about himself becoming viral from a prison guard while he was serving 10 years for possession of over 30 ecstasy pills. Sure, James was clearly running illegal underground fighting matches in his backyard and probably sold drugs and definitely enjoyed watching animals fight to the death, but because of that one drunken moment caught on camera, he has now become a legendary meme that is still being used today. So for that, James, we salute you.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius. Real Men of Genius. Today, we salute you,
Mr. Just Bleed MMA guy. While lesser MMA fans would shy away from body paint, you embraced it.
Yes, you do.
Showing up to the event with the goal of becoming blackout drunk, you made sure to write UFC on your forehead just in case you forgot where you are. Just Bleed written across your chest so fighters could look up into the audience and remember why they were there in the first place and rip an opponent's head off.
So this Bud's for you,
Mr. Just Bleed MMA guy.
because without you, a man crushing another man's head in his arms would just look silly.
No Dillmans today. Instead, I have an announcement. I finally did it with your help and your support. I reached 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. The plaque also came with this letter, which I'm going to read to you right now. Do you remember your first subscriber, your 100th, or your 1,000th subscriber? Chances are you do. And we know that you'll remember your 100,000th subscriber. Your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend, or maybe you showed up as a recommended video. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed, and their numbers increased because of you and the community you've built. We're proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers and the Silver Creator Award. Congratulations. We know that you have many more stories to share with your community, and we know your fans can't wait for you to amaze them even more with your commitment and creativity. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next, and we're here to support you along the way. And who knows, when you reach your 1,000,000th subscriber, we may just write you and ask, do you remember your 100,000th subscriber? Sincerely, Neil Mahan, YouTube CEO. Look, I know it's just a plaque, and I know it's just a letter, and to some of you out there, you could give two shits less. But I couldn't have done it without you anyway. I truly appreciate every subscription, every follow, every membership, every like, every comment, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, because you guys helped get me to a goal that I set for myself. And yes, the letter is correct. I will be continuing to tell you guys more stories. I will be continuing to do my job. I will be exploring new ideas for content, and I'll be doing so with your support. I am grateful for every one of you that takes the time to interact with any of my content. It means so much to me, and I am very grateful. Thank you again for helping me reach this milestone, and I will continue to work hard for you to make sure that we can continue to make good content that you will enjoy, and hopefully it'll just get better. That's all I can do, man. Just keep working hard at it. This brings us to the question of the day, brought to you by xmarshall.com. Be sure to answer the question of the day in the comment sections below, so that way you could be entered for a chance to win a $100 gift voucher that you could use on any purchase at xmarshall.com. And hey, maybe you don't win. That's okay. You can use promo code McDojo10 to get 10% off any of your purchases at xmarshall.com. We've reached the milestone, 100,000 subscribers, and I'm going to keep pushing till I get to 1,000,000. That I can promise you. But I'm always looking for new ideas for content, and it seems like every time I try something out of the box or something new, it doesn't typically do well because people are just used to the content that they like. They want the breakdowns. Sometimes the news stories do better than the breakdowns do, but I'm looking to expand. I want to try new stuff. And I know that people were saying, hey, why don't you go and try and test these things out? Well, I did that. There's a whole playlist for that. And ironically enough, most of those videos are some of my least viewed, even though they are the most asked for, which is really strange. So you can watch pressure test videos with some of the best in the industry. I'll continue to do those. I also am doing a new show called Rob's Bar. Well, I'll be interviewing people over some drinks and playing video games, and you'll hear some cool stories from some amazing people in the martial arts industry. I'd like to hear from you. What would you guys like to see more of on this channel? Keep in mind, going to someone's dojo and fighting them is not necessarily legal. There are a lot of legal issues with that. One, you have to get permission. They have to agree to have you there to fight. They could trespass you at any time, even if you show up. They don't have to legally allow you to film inside their gym. And if you do film inside their gym without their permission, they can sue you over that footage. So there's a ton of legalities. You don't just go beat people up. I'm open to ideas and suggestions. So please, in the comment sections below, let me know what type of content you enjoy or you would like to see more of. As always, thank you all for the likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and memberships. Check out McDojoLife.com. Keep the martial arts legit.
Things just haven't been the same. Living strange since my baby joined that dojo. Joined our McDojo.